Hey man, we finally did it.
Yeah, how's it, Sid? How you doing?
Good man. So, how's your health? How's your family's health? Everybody?
Uh, Thankfully, everybody's getting a lot better. Thankfully, and yeah, probably the worst is past us. And it's been a kind of a difficult week, but
Hmm.
yeah, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I'd say I'm almost there in terms of health-wise. Probably around 98, 99% at the moment, but yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay. Yeah, right. As long as you're well, everyone's well, that's good, man. We just got to be careful. The China virus is sparing nobody.
Spares nobody. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So enough of the COVID bug out of the way. Let's get to the second test, which in hindsight, the series has been a real disappointment. Australia winning by an innings and 182 runs, and our favorite David Warner is the man of the match. I mean, actually, I don't mind David Warner, but before I used to call him Big Mouth, but he seems to be a bit of a sane guy of late. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think before this tour, we knew exactly what the problem was. We knew which department was the major issue, and I think when you go to a top test playing nation and you play them in their own backyard, you've got to have all three bases of the game covered. I mean, you can't be good at
Hmm.
one and
Hmm.
slack on the other. And unfortunately, the batting has really let them down so badly in the series. I mean,
Hmm.
it's crazy to think that 7 innings you haven't got past 200, and
Yeah.
uh, there was so much of crying going on a few years ago where this team couldn't make 300, but now they can't make 200. So it just goes to show how much they've actually fallen behind in terms of the bat. Um, and I mean, if I look at this game, you talk about a nightmare. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, if anybody's had nightmares, and especially when you talk about a cricketing nightmare and you wake up to one, that
Hmm.
probably kind of sums it up a bit. I mean, day one, you obviously you got blown away in that first session, and then 63 for 5. There was a bit of a fight back, and you
Hmm.
essentially lost the plot twice in that game. I mean, being
Hmm.
63 for 5, that fantastic partnership with Kyle Verreynne, and I'm quite happy he's in the Proteas side at the moment because I think he's one
Hmm.
of our better players.
Hmm.
And then you got Marco Janssen, that's obviously shown so much of promise
Hmm.
in his short career, and then you let it slip again, and you
Hmm.
get bundled out for 189, and then you
Hmm.
go again. You think your bowlers are going to come to the party again, like they always do, and
Yeah.
try and save your ass. But
Hmm.
you wake up the next morning and you see the opposition 386 for 3, and then you ask yourself this question: why? I mean, boy, this game is long gone. I mean, all you're trying to do now is just try to salvage some pride and try to not lose by a very poor margin. But this game was gone, said on day two
Hmm.
when Australia
Hmm.
posted
Hmm.
386 for 3. And
Hmm.
David Warner, I mean, love him or hate him, I mean, he's come back and he silenced his critics in the most emphatic of
Hmm.
ways. And he called it one of his best innings. And I think probably it was. I mean, Australia, I mean, Cummins hasn't put a foot wrong in the series as a captain. I mean, he knew exactly what was going to happen. I mean, win the toss, bowl first, you can bowl them out.
Hmm.
I mean, this is a
Hmm.
fragile batting lineup, so you've got your chances to bowl them out on day one. And guess what? We're going to be batting when it's 38, 40 degrees in the heat, and we're going to let them toil. So that's exactly what happened. They toiled on day
Hmm.
two, and yeah, from there on, it was just a bit of a difficult watch. Uh, to be honest, really, really difficult watch.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
There's a few promising performances. Uh, Verena was good. Marco Janssen
Hmm.
showing a lot of promise, with finally coming good with a bat. I mean, and getting past that 50. I mean, we all knew he was good enough, and
Hmm.
he's shown. and then to Bavuma obviously coming back into form. Obviously, I was a bit disappointed with him when Bavuma batted with the tail. I thought he could have done more. And yet again, he looked for 50, and yet again he throws it away. So that's something that they need to work on. But I think the positives, I think the negatives really outweigh the positives in this game. So there's not a lot to be happy about at the moment, and we've been saying this for a long time now, but it's back to square one, basically, essentially back to square one. You got to look at it. In a way, it's not such a bad thing that the series is over and done with, and you can actually play without any fear, without any free. You can play with complete freedom now. I mean, you essentially got nothing to lose. You absolutely got nothing to lose at the moment. So, but I mean, if you want to talk about a cricketing nightmare, this one is as close as you get.
What about the New Zealand one in the first test where we got bowled out very cheaply in both? I think that was more of a cricketing nightmare for me because I never would have expected us to get outclassed by New Zealand. Don't get me wrong, I respect them, but they're not in the great league of Australia. So I found that more of a nightmare. This I found was more understandable. This I could digest. But what I found more sad about this defeat was that this pitch was a lot more fairer than the Brisbane one, and yet to get bowled out so cheaply in both innings is a bit much. Although I must admit, Australia bowled very well. They made the pitch look difficult, and like when we bowled to them, the pitch looked flat. So I don't know what was smoking. But I guess I'll just say our bowlers are entitled to have a bad day. They've already been bailing us out, so I can accept the bowlers having an off day. So maybe if they bowled well, maybe they would have probably made 300 all out, and then might have been an interesting match. But anyway, it's fine. I guess it would have asked too much for us to equal the series, considering we haven't really deserved to be even in the series. What do you say?
Absolutely. I think, especially when you come to Australia, there's a lot of teams that are beaten before they actually land off that plane. There's a thing about going to Australia where, you know, you try and back up your words. And this is where I've been so disappointed with Dean Elgar, because he hasn't been able to back up his pre-match talks with good test match performances, and especially as a captain, you should be leading from the front. I think at the moment, I was actually quite happy with Elgar becoming captain at that given time. Because, he was in a bad space, needed somebody, and I thought Elgar was the right man for the job. But I think those talks have obviously gone far beyond it now. I think talk is cheap at the moment. We want to see some action on the pitch, and we haven't been seeing it. And I think Dean, as a whole, I've been very, very disappointed with the way he's actually run things up. I think he hasn't taken enough responsibility, Sid, as a captain and as a batter. He hasn't taken enough responsibility. I mean, as much as you can say you expected it to happen, I don't think it's something that you want. I mean, as a test playing nation, and as one of the top test playing nations, you gotta try and compete in the game and try and make it as difficult as possible for Australia to actually try and win the game. I don't think they've done that. So that's the most disappointing thing for me. I think at the moment we're losing that fighting spirit that we actually have with us, and be taking us for so long. You know, I think a lot of performances under Elgar has shown a lot of grit, a lot of determination. If you look at that India series, where we were underdogs coming into that series, and we ended up winning that series. But this was an opportunity missed, I feel, big time. And I think the only thing we can do now is try and save some face at Sydney, because 2-1 looks a whole lot better than 3-0, eh? So I mean, they can win at Sydney.
They can
win at Sydney.
You know what's funny though? If we beat Australia, Sydney, and we beat West Indies 2-0, we're actually still in the race for that Test Championship. I thought we were actually out of it when we lost in Sydney, but I read that we're still in the race. So go USA for Sydney, but I think it's unlikely. Not trying to be negative, but let's be realistic. I think Australia 3-0 sounds more realistic, or 2-0, I think, is asking a bit too much. What do you say?
Look, considering how bad you've played on this tour, how one-sided it's been, to still have something to play for, I think actually counts for a lot. So by no means is that game a dead rubber. Because if you're talking
Of
about
course.
the Test Championship, there is points on offer there. So you by no means take that as a dead rubber. You take that as a game that you need to win. So I think that's the way they should approach it. As I said, they've got nothing to lose at the moment. Nobody's expecting anything from them at the moment. Everybody's expecting 3-0. Everybody's expecting 3-0 at the moment.
Or a draw.
If
they don't... Yeah, I expect a draw if Australia don't win. I don't see us winning it unless we probably play Harmer. I just thought of it. They could play Harmer and Sydney along with Avish Maharaj because Sydney's only place that'll turn and Harmer can bat, which makes it kind of sad. He didn't play, but then Harmer wouldn't have worked out in Brisbane because that was a spicy pitch for paceman, and then even Melbourne wouldn't have worked out for Harmer. So I think Harmer is the best choice for now or Sydney. What do you say?
Look, getting back to Keshav, I've been very disappointed with him on this tour. I've been very disappointed the way South Africa have used him as well. You know,
but I think
as much as you do have a spinner, I think there are times you can, as a team, do what's best for the team and maybe say to him, this is the one that we want you to obviously, we don't want you to play this one. We want you to rest this one year out. You still have a role in our valuable member of this team. But this is one of the things that we want to see out. We want to see what we can do with our pace attack. And mind you, the Proteas have won a lot of games with their pace attack, so they could have looked at that. I think a bit one-dimensional in a way. Want to play with a spinner just for the sake of it. I really don't like it when teams play a spinner for the sake of it. A spinner's got to be an attacking option, sir. Because you could Nathan Lyon is an attacking option for Australia.
Yeah. I think he's being used to more like rotate the seamers because, with over rates and these penalty points for the Test Championship, so they get scared, right? So they think it's good to have that spin also to help speed up the game. You know what I mean? I know it sounds cheesy, but it is becoming quite a factor. Look at Australia, right? They lost out on the Test Championship last because of points being deducted for slow over rates, and that affected their chances for the finals. So instead of New Zealand, Australia could have gone through and then, but that's another story on its own. So a spinner is vital, but you got to probably try and find a way of how you can use a spinner as a surprise option, not as a. But anyway, so when I'm done with, I'm kind of now over the second test. Let's hope. It's going to be nice to see Harmer playing because although I don't know if you can do any more harm, but it'll be fun to see if you can.
But what's the funny thing? I've actually quite liked Harmer ever since he's come back into the setup. I think he's a handy cricketer. I think he offers something with a bat, and his bowling has improved so much.
Okay.
So I mean, why not play him? So to be honest with you, it really doesn't matter what side they put out. I mean, it really doesn't matter anymore. It's about just getting the best combination out there and trying to win the game. So Look, to me, it's back to the drawing board here, and they've got to look at players. They've got to identify players now that can take this team going forward, because there's a few players there that really, if you look at their ages, I mean, they're not going to be around for too long, Sid. They're not going to be around for too long. And I think it's time we got to start looking towards the future.
Yeah, of course. Actually, on a final note, I did read that since the brain won't be playing the next match because of the birth of his child, I think Rusty will come back. What's your thoughts on that?
I can't say I'm ecstatic about that because Rusty hasn't been in the best of form. Look, the funny thing about this year, and although it's been so inconsistent, there's always been a time where we haven't had our best batters. And I think Keegan Peterson is one of our best batters. And it's unfortunate.
I think he's injured.
Because,
unfortunately,
he's not because of that injury. And I wish him good, the best of luck. He's back for the West Indies tour. So I think Peterson being in this team adds a lot of balance to this lineup. So that's the one disappointing thing. But anyways, I wouldn't have an issue if they play Rassi, but I mean he hasn't been in the best of form, so I can only hope for the best.
Okay, all right. I think I'm trying to look at ESPN for that Indian Bangladesh series. or as we predicted, India were going to win 2-0. And what were your thoughts on our favorite captain, KL Rahul's performance of his first series as captain? Couldn't have had a nice start, but I know he captained against South Africa, but that was more of a one match. This was a proper series for him. What were your thoughts?
I think it was a crucial win for them. Hey, I think it was a crucial win for them, given in the Test Championship situation. So I think it was pretty clinical in the end, if you think about it. Although they had a bit of a hiccup in that second game, but if you look at it overall, I think they were the dominant side and thoroughly deserved to win. So tougher test to come, and I can't wait for that series next month against the Aussies. So a lot of exciting cricket to come.
Yeah. Although, okay, before I get to that, Chase Pujara was the man of the series. Ashwin was the man of the match. So it's nice to see Ashwin getting an award after so long. It's nice to see Pujara in the runs, because he's been kind of quiet. Hopefully that's well against Australia.
Yeah, I mean, he showed his value to the side here. I mean, he's been one of the standouts. I'd say if you look at most of India's overseas triumphs, and especially in Australia, Pujara has been the man. He's been the rock that's held that Indian batting lineup together, and it's good to see him back in the runs, and they're hoping it continues. Come the next tour.
Okay. Getting to also India-Australia series, I'm having this theory: if SA beat Australia in Sydney, I think Australia's confidence will be pretty dented. It would be kind of nice for India. My only concern for India will be if KL captains that series, I think Australia will have a chance of winning that series. Just I'll put a small bet on that one. But if Rohit captains, I'm okay with it, because Rohit's a proper captain. KL is he's still got a lot to learn. What do you say?
Yeah, I think there's still some time regarding that one, but what I'm going to be fascinated about is the pitches. I'd like to see what kind of pitches I actually actually prepare for them. I think the last thing you want is a low scoring kind of series. I think you want a nice, evenly matched, balanced series with bat and ball, and I hope we get that sort of scenario. But yeah, I think India back themselves at home, eh?
Yeah, I'm only concerned because KL Rahul, in my opinion, lacks killer instinct as captain, because to really scrape against Bangladesh in that second test was really not right. But anyway, that's over and done with. And now, not that I want to talk about South Africa quickly, but I feel our batting has been lacking killer instinct. But maybe I can't blame them too much. They have been playing on shoddy surfaces. Not that I want to blame pitchers, because as you did say, our batting has been pathetic.
I mean, there's a lot of inexperience as well. I mean, if you look at the inexperience throughout that order, you look at Elgar. I mean, Elgar's got 1300s. I think the biggest concern with us is we're picking players that don't really convert well in domestic cricket. And if you can't convert well in domestic cricket, there's no way in hell you're going to do that in test matches. So I think this thing about picking players on experience is not working for us. And it's been not working for us for a very long time. It's been letting us down badly. So I think you look for the best players now. You look for the best young players that are scoring, prolifically in domestic cricket, and they are the players that are going to take this team forward. Because at the moment, I mean, all you're doing is you selecting a bunch of experienced failures that are just failing game in, game out, and it's kind of the definition of insanity. What you call what Albert Einstein once said, that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I think this is what the Proteas are doing at the moment. So I think there needs to be a proper rethink of the team after the series, and move forward.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially in terms of the batting.
Yeah. Maybe our team should have a reset, like how England have done, like for the one-day game and our test game. Like getting back now, we get to England bad ball time. Yeah, man. England won the series 3-0. Never would have expected this result. Harry Brook was man of the match, man of the series. Man, he's been enjoying the pictures of Pakistan. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this series really, this series kind of exposed Pakistan a lot in terms of the frailties with regards to their bowling. I mean, I told you before the series, Shaheen Shah really is their prime bowler, and without him, you saw how flat they were on the field. But I think these pitches as well were hurting Pakistan really badly in the series, and I think at times they really looked puzzled in terms of whether to go for the win or whether to play for the draw. They were in two minds, and England was so clinical in the way they played the game that it was just too much for Pakistan to handle. So yeah, baseball is looking good, eh? It's looking good so far. Tougher test to come, but obviously 2023 is going to be a big year, and we're going to see what's going to happen with this England side. How long can this be sustained? But so far, it's working wonders. They've really transformed the way they played. They've been approaching Test cricket, and I think that's helped them tremendously.
Yeah, man. I was actually thinking if England can continue on this trajectory going into the next Test championship, I won't be surprised if they're in the top 3 or even in the chances of finals. I'm calling it.
Yeah, I think that's a challenge for the rest of the nations at the moment, is how they're going to try and catch up with England at the moment. So you're going to have a scenario where there's going to be 1 or 2 that's going to be on the top, and then you're going to be everybody else trying to catch up. So England have really stamped. They've put a benchmark now for other teams, but I still have question marks on how this is going to be able to pan out in all conditions, because I mean, playing on ranked turners, is baseball going to work? Is it going to work in Australia on those bouncy pitches? There's still a lot of question marks regarding this baseball. I think it's worked so far, but I think the jury is still out as to how long it can be sustained.
Yeah, I still think you need to have the right bowlers though, because although Australia really started to come out with all these interesting, spicy pitches. So it'll be fun to see how England play on those, and India will be fun to watch as well. But although Australia was the trendsetter today in terms of run rates, they're the one that used to go 4 runs and over, or at least over 3 runs and over, and the team started to follow that. England are going even double that now. So it'll be fun to see that too. Especially in South African conditions, England batting like that. Well, maybe not against South Africa so much, maybe Australia. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's experimental at the moment. It's worked out so far on certain pitches. So I think the jury's still out with regards to the Ashes, playing in India, even here in SA. So I mean, if it can continue, then yeah, we really are looking at something special. But there's still a long way to go for me. Pakistan were really standard in this Test series, so I don't think you can read too much into it as well.
Terrible. It just felt like it because New Zealand had it too long, and the chances of a result happening were only New Zealand to win, and then the predictable draw happened, and Pakistan, as usual, found a way of nearly losing it, and then they somehow found some backbone. And then Palmer did that interesting declaration when the score was 3-11 for 8, and then New Zealand was 61 for 1 until bad life came. So I think Kane Williamson was the man of the match. Nice to see him in the runs, and yeah. Oh, I just saw your comment here. Enough about baseball now. Oh, yeah, it's funny. Hello, you there? Hello, can you hear me? Oh,